In this video, we're going to begin coding out our first blog post. What's up guys, and how's it going? Today we're going to start working on our blog post for our website, and there's a few things that we're going to do here. First of which, we are going to be using Jekyll's data files, and we are going to use a JSON file to hold all of our authors and some metadata for anyone who is an author for this blog. Currently it's only me, but as time goes on there will be more. The second thing we're going to do is create our layout page for the post page. So we're going to be using the default layout along with the new post layout that we are going to make, and that is going to be what we will use for every single blog post that we create. The third thing we're going to do is actually code out the blog post. We're going to write all the HTML for that and get all of that situated. And then the fourth and last thing that we're going to be working on is some styling for the blog post and the post page, just so we can get it looking how we want. I'm not going to go too far into how to style every little piece of the post, just as far as all the text goes and all of those elements, but we will set up our column for the post and we will style our header for every single post. So let's go ahead and jump into things. I'm not 100% sure how far we're going to get into this today, but let's go ahead and start off with something a little simple. So first, let's go ahead and open our project up in Atom. Alright, now let's go ahead and open up our terminal. And let's go ahead and cd into our project and start up the server. So that's going to be bundle exec Jekyll serve with the flags watch and the flag base URL. And just set that to nothing with 2 quotation marks. Alright, now that that's up, let's go over here. And here's the website. Let's go to the blog. Here's what we've got so far. So we're not going to be doing any work on this page specifically right now. We're going to be working on a completely separate page, which is just going to be a post that later on, not in this video, but later on we are going to come back to this page here and create a loop that displays all of the blog posts on this page in this kind of format right here. But today we're going to be working on this right here. This is just a general idea of what the blog post itself is going to look like. Like I said earlier, we're not going to go really deep into all of the stylings of this, but we will do a few things, like we will set up this drop cap, and we're going to go ahead and set this column here and style these pictures. And that's probably going to be it for today. We're actually going to have a big block quote that we're going to work on as well. But before we do that, like I said earlier, let's go ahead and start off with something a little simple. So let's come over here, and Jekyll has these files called data files, and what they do is they allow you to store some information in it that makes more sense than, you know, putting it in like a layout or something else like that. So it's a place to store just general information that you can pull out and use anywhere else in the site. So to get that started, we're going to go ahead, right click this, create new folder, and this is just going to be named _ data. And that's where we're going to put the file. So let's go ahead and make our file. So what we're going to be using this as is we're going to have a JSON file for our authors. And what's going to happen is any author for the blog is going to be put into this JSON file. So it's going to be categorized by their name, and that's how we're going to call their data from the JSON file. And then we're going to store metadata about them, like their name, their bio, and their avatar image and stuff like that. So to get this started, let's go ahead, right click this and click new file, and we are going to go ahead and let's name this authors.json. So we're going to start this off with curly brackets, and let's make our first entry right here. So this is going to be Zachary Newton. That's how I'm going to be calling myself whenever I write a blog post. Then it should be a colon, and then here's where we're going to store all of the information about me. So let's go ahead and let's set my name. And my name is going to be displayed as Zachary Newton. And then I also have an avatar image that we're going to be using, and that's going to be located in images. And this is that image right there. So let's go ahead and put that in. So for the avatar image here, we're going to name it avatar. And actually, I forgot up here, we need a comma after this. And then it's going to be another colon down here. And we're going to write the path to the image right here. So it's going to be /assets /images, and then it's going to be /Zachary Newton -avatar.jpg. And so that's going to be it right now. These are the only things that we're adding in at the moment. Later on in the future, I may decide to go ahead and add a bio for any author that will be put in here, and in which case we can pull from it then. And if anything ever changes, if I want to change how my name is displayed, I can just come in here, edit this, and it will change for every single post that I write. So now that that is out of the way, we need to go ahead and do something else here. So let's work on our post in the layouts. So if we come up here and we click on layouts, we're going to make a new file, and this is going to be called post.html. That's not how you spell HTML. HTML. And we're going to start styling this right here. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to make this use the default layout. And now we're going to go ahead and start styling this. Well, not styling this, but building it with HTML. So the first thing we're going to need is our header. And just in case you forgot what this is going to look like, it's going to be something very similar to this. It's going to be exactly like this, minus this image. This image is going to change because it's not what we're using for the post. So let's go ahead and give this a class of blog-index-header-main. And let's set, what we're going to do is we're going to add the image in here via HTML, because that way we can use Jekyll to apply the images for all of our blog posts. So we're going to set style, and this is going to be the background image, and URL, then the parentheses, and then the link is going to go right in here, and we'll close that out there. But before we do that, we need to go ahead and add these images. So I have 3 images here. This one is going to be used inside of the blog post itself. This is going to be the large hero image for the post, so it's going to be this image. And then we have this image right here, which is the same exact image. It's just a smaller thumbnail image for when it is going to be displayed in this format. That way we're not loading a huge image for every single one of these, and it'll reduce our load time. So let's go ahead, and what we're going to do is in our assets and in our images folder, we're going to make a new folder, and this is going to be called blog. So everything here is going to be, and any images we use in our blog or in the blog part of the website will be put into this folder right here. So let's go ahead and let's drag this here, and let's go ahead and drag this one in here, and then we're also going to make another folder inside of this, and we're going to name it low res, and then we're going to drop our low resolution image here, and we just need to make sure it's named exactly the same, just like that. So that's all we're going to do right here. Now we can come back here and we can set that hero image. So let's go ahead and just for now, we are going to go ahead and let's start this off with curly brace, site dot URL. And then for now, let's just go ahead and write the path to this image. So it's going to be in assets, images, blog, and then let's see what we have named it. All right, and then we're just going to go ahead and copy this name right here. And let's go ahead and put that here. So that's good for right now. Now I need to finish going in here and setting the rest of this up. So inside here, we're going to make a div. And we're going to give it a class of overlay dark. The next thing that we're going to go ahead and add is our navigation. So we're going to need to include that right here. So it's going to be curly brace %, include, and then it's going to be our nav.html, and then close it with the % and curly brace. And now we're going to need to set up our title for the post itself. So we're going to have a div here with the class of blog index title, and then we're going to close this off, and then we're going to write an h1 here, so h1 with a class of featured blog post title. And we'll close this off here. All right. So now we're going to want to populate this here using our page title, which is going to pull the title of our post. So we're going to do curly brace, and page dot title. Okay. Now we get to build our little author card. So we got done with the background image, the overlay, the navigation, the title here, and now we're going to work on this. So beneath this div, we're going to make another div, and we're going to give it a class of author card. So just like that. And then inside of here, we are going to say image source. We'll add that in a minute. Alt. We will add that in just a minute, and then we can go ahead and close this off. And then beneath that, we are going to set up a small tag. Come inside here, let's write M, and we're going to say by, space, and then this is going to be an A tag, href. We're going to stub this out for now. I'm going to come back in the future and add something for that right there. And then inside of here, we're going to write something in just a minute. And then after the A tag, we're going to make it break. So we're going to write a BR. And then we're going to say on. And then we're going to close this tag here, the M tag. And that's going to be it for that. That's going to be everything we're putting inside of this header, if I can remember correctly. So now what we're going to do is we're going to come here and populate all this stuff right here. So first of all, to get our image here, we're going to use our curly brace site dot URL. And then right after that, we're going to use some of our data from our JSON file here. So to do that, we're going to write curly brace site dot data dot authors, and then it's going to be a bracket page dot author, close the bracket, and then we're going to say dot avatar, and that is going to pull the path that we have specified here for this author. So in our alt tag, we're gonna do something very similar here. We're gonna start this off with two curly braces, and it's gonna be site dot data dot authors, bracket page dot author, close the bracket, which we already have right here, and then it's going to be dot name. And so that is going to populate this part with my name, whatever I have in this field here, but I do want to add the word avatar after that. So we're going to go ahead and save that, and then we're going to come over here, and in here we are going to write we're actually going to do this right here. We're going to copy this because this is going to be what goes inside of this A tag here. And then after that, we are going to come right after the word on and write curly brace page dot date. And then we're going to pass in how we want it to be displayed. And I'm not going to go into what all this means, but I'm just going to show you how we're going to write it. So it's going to be a percent and a capital B, and then we're going to do a space and percent lowercase e, then a comma, and then we're going to have a space and then percent uppercase Y, and that is going to be it for that right now. So now that I'm thinking about it, on all of our blog posts, this part right here, all of this is just going to keep getting repeated in every post that we're going to use in the liquid part of the code. So I figured, why not just remove that from the individual posts so we can write less and not repeat ourselves. So we are going to come over to our config.yaml file real quick, and let's see. Let's put this underneath this GitHub path here. So down here beneath our GitHub path, we're going to name this path to blog image bin, just like that. And we're going to set this path, and we can come over here and just copy this real quick. We'll cut it actually right there, and then paste this here, save it, and then we're going to need to use that. So let's go ahead and write curly brace site dot path to blog image bin, and close the curly braces, and we can go ahead and save that. We're going to need to come over here and restart our server, and while that's restarting, let's go ahead and continue building our HTML on this page. So beneath the header, we're going to need to start on all of this stuff right here. So we are going to put in a div with the class of blog post content wrapper. Close the div off. And then inside of this div, we are going to write curly brace content, and close that off. And so that means any file that we create that uses this post layout, all of the stuff we write is going to go inside of this content here. Beneath our blog post content wrapper, we are going to write a horizontal rule, and then we're going to write an h5 with the class of read more CTA. And we can go ahead and close that off. And inside here, we're going to say, you might want to read ... And then right here, we can go ahead and write this is going to be another wrapper here. So it's going to be a div with a class of blog read more wrapper. And let's go ahead and close this off. And then inside of here, we're going to have a layout of all of the blog posts, but we're not going to go ahead and do that right now. That's out of the scope of this part of the video. So now that we have all of this set up, there isn't really a way to view all of this until we have a post. So if we want, we can go ahead and we are going to write our post real quick. So we're going to need to make a new folder in the root of our directory here. And it's going to be underscore posts. And then inside of there, we're going to right click and create a new file. And this is how we're going to need to name this file. For Jekyll, we're going to start by the year. So it's going to be 2017. And the date for this is going to be 04. And then it's going to be 29. And then after that, we're going to write out the title of the blog post, but every word is going to be separated by a dash. So right over here, I have, this is the blog post. So it is technology making us lazy. So we're going to say is technology making us lazy, and then it's going to be .html. So inside of here, what we're going to do is we're going to say, we're not going to say, we're going to write liquid code here. And this is going to use the layout of post. And now we've got to set a few things before we go ahead and move on from here. We are going to set the title of this post. And it's just going to be is technology making us lazy. And here we're going to write the category. It's going to be categories, and then it's just going to be technology. Beneath that, we're going to write our featured image. So we're just going to call this feat img, just like that. And then instead of writing the whole path to this here, because we added the path to this bin here in our config.yaml, we can just write the file name. So I know the file name is basically the exact same name of the file for our post. So it's going to be 2017 -04 dash 29. Pretty sure that's what we named it. Let's just double check before we move on. Blog. Nope, 17. Okay, my bad. So this is going to be 17. And let's rename this post file here. So this is just going to be, instead of 29, it's just going to change this to 17. And then it's going to be is technology making us lazy .jpg. And there's two more things that we're going to be adding in here. One of them is going to be the excerpt We don't have the excerpt just yet. We will be grabbing that from the post later. And then we need to set our author. And this is how we're going to define which author here that we're going to use the data for this post. So how we're going to call my name here and all my information is just by writing Zachary Newton. So we are just going to go ahead and write Zachary Newton just like that. And we can save this. Everything has rendered fine here. Let's go ahead and try and load this page up. So to get to this page, with Jekyll, how we'll find it is by writing / and then the category first, so it's technology, and then it's going to be / the year, the / the month, / the day, and then / the name of the post, pretty much, again, separated by hyphens. So is technology making us lazy? All right, perfect. So now that we've got that done, this is everything. This is our avatar, our title, our navigation, our hero image, our overlay, our footer is still here because the post layout is using the default layout, and this is the start of our the end of the post that will go here. So now let's come back over here and just take a look and see what we got to do. All right, so in our post .html layout, we are using this image here is being declared here, and we don't want that. At least we don't want it to be done like that because that's not anywhere near dynamic or anything like that. So what we're going to do is we're going to use this right here that we have set. So we are going to write curly brace, and it's going to be page dot featured image right there. And then now if we come over here and refresh this, you'll see the image has stayed the same. And if we come to our post and we were to delete this text here, save it, and then refresh, the image is gone. So let's go ahead and put that back. Sweet. Now we can go ahead and let's just go ahead and let's just write out the HTML for this blog post right here. So I have all of the text here that we're going to be using. So we can just copy this text and not have to type everything out by hand. So this first tag we're going to make is going to be P with the class of drop cap. Close this off. And then beneath that, we're going to have an image here with a class of no class, actually. We don't need to add a class to that because we're going to use specificity to declare a style for this. But we do need to set the source. So the source for this image here is going to be curly brace, site.base URL, and it's going to be assets, image, blog, and then the name of our image, which is right here, distraction.jpg. And for the alt tag, I'm just going to write something simple like example of distraction. And then we can close this off. Let's come over here, just refresh. And look at that. We've got some text in here and we have an image in here already. Now to continue. We're going to need another paragraph tag. And we are going to grab the next body of text and paste it in. Let's do this again. P tag, close it off. Let's grab the next body of text right here. Copy and paste it in. And let's do another one. Go ahead, grab this body of text, paste it, and we've got a few more here. Another paragraph tag. Close it off. We're going to copy this and paste it here. All right, so let's come down here and let's see what we have next. We have one more little bit of body. We have an anchor tag and we have another paragraph tag here. So let's go ahead and make another paragraph tag. And copy this, paste it in here. And then now we need an anchor tag. And let's go ahead and give this a class of LG-block quote. Close that off. And let's go ahead and copy this and just paste that inside here. And then we have one more paragraph tag. And let's grab this and just paste it in here. Okay, that is everything from the blog post right here. If we refresh it, you'll see all this lovely text here. And now we can go ahead and start styling everything because now we can see everything. All of this is actually fine right here. Our overlay, our background image, our navigation, and our title, all of that is fine. The reason this is pushed up so far is because this image is so large. So we're going to start off by styling our author card here and making everything work properly. To do that, however, we are going to make a new Sass file. And we're going to put that in layouts. So it's going to be a new file. And it's going to be post.sass. We're going to go to our directory for it and import post right there. And then now we can start writing this. So let's grab our author card and let's start giving it some styles. So let's position it absolute. Let's do bottom 0, left 0, right 0, and let's give it a display of flex. Let's also give it a Z index of 5 so that it should appear above. Yeah, now it's above the overlay there. And let's set the flex direction to column. Align items center. And let's give it some margin bottom of 30 pixels. So inside of our author tag, we have an image and we have a small tag. So let's go ahead and let's style our image. So we're going to give it a height of 50 pixels and a width of 60 pixels as well. And we're going to give it a border radius of 100% to make it round. And let's give it a margin bottom of 10 pixels. And then I want a little bit of box shadow on it. So we're going to set that up as 0, 3 pixels, 6 pixels, 0, and then we're going to set it to the color to RGBA. And it's going to be 0, 0, 0, 0.25. Save that. And now let's come over here, take a look at this, refresh it. Sweet. So that is already right there in the center, and it does have the little bit of it does have the drop shadow on it. Now we need to style this text. So let's come here and let's grab our small tag and let's say text transform none. And let's do text align center. All right, let's also go ahead and give it some line height of 1.5 em. And let's set the color to be, I want it a little darker than white. So darken, and we're going to grab our white variable. And we're going to say 10%. And this is a sass thing here, so it's going to take the variable white, which we have set at white right now, and it's going to darken it by 10%. Now we can go ahead and set the font family. And we're going to set that to a variable of font stack 2. Alright, now we can grab our A tag inside of there. And we are going to set the font weight for the A tag to be 500. And we are going to set the color to be our white variable. Let's go ahead and refresh this. And that's looking much better. That's looking a lot more like how we have this styled here. So I am happy with that part. Now we can move on to our blog post styles and style all of this. So let's go ahead and let's just make a comment here and say blog post styles. And inside here, we're going to say blog. We're going to use our class here, blog post content wrapper. And we're going to give this a little bit of style here. So we're going to want it to be 100, the width we're going to want to be 100% up until it reaches 800 pixels. So we're going to set the max width to be 800 pixels. And we're going to want to center this by margin auto. Not margin left auto, just margin auto. And now we want to give it some padding. So we're going to give 100 pixels of padding on the top, 20 pixels on the right, 0 on the bottom, and 20 pixels on the left. Save that, and let's come over here. Look at this. Everything should be centered here. All right. So all of the text is in the center and it's reaching the edge just how we want, but this image is bleeding over, so we will fix that in just a moment. Back in our Sass here, let's come over here, let's grab our image, and we're gonna say display block width we are going to set to 100%. Height is going to be auto. And we're going to give it some margin of 2em on the top and bottom. And we're going to give it auto on the left and right. Just in case, the reason we're doing auto margin on the left and right is if this image is ever smaller than this 800 pixels here, I want it to be centered and not floating off to the left. Now we can go ahead and give it an overflow of hidden. And we can set the border radius to 3 pixels. And then the last thing we're going to do is save this and refresh this page. And now you see it fits right within our 800 pixel grid just perfectly. Now we're going to go ahead and we're going to style some of this paragraph text real quick. Make all that look nice. Let's grab all of our paragraph tags inside of the blog post content wrapper. And we're going to say font family. And we're going to use our font stack 2 variable. We're going to set the font weight to, let's set the 300. Color is going to be a primary color. Line height is going to be 2em. So it's just going to be the equivalent of double spaced. And we're going to set the padding to be 2em on the top and bottom and 0 on the left and right. And so that means let's see here, in between every paragraph tag, it's going to be 2ems of padding on the top and bottom of this entire tag, not each line. So if we come here and refresh this again, there we go. It's a lot darker. All the text, all the spacing is how I want it. And now we can go ahead and we need to style this drop cap style that we have declared right here. So let's grab, just beneath this paragraph tag, we're going to just grab the drop cap class that we set, and we're going to use this pseudo selector to select the first letter. And we're going to adjust this first letter to have a font size of 3.5em. We're going to change the font weight to 400. Let's change the font family as well to our font stack 1. And we are going to set the color to be our highlight variable. Save it and refresh. And that didn't work for some reason. What did I do wrong? Oh, what's this here? Font stack. Did we name it font stack 1? Let's see back in here. Style. No, it's just font stack, my bad. So we're just going to change this to font stack here. Now this should work. That's right, that just worked. And we're going to refresh this. And now we have a drop cap. So what's next here? Next we need to style this large block quote. To do that, we're going to come down here. And we are going to style our anchor tags. The first thing I know I'm going to want to do for just any anchor tag I have in here, it's going to be changing the color to highlight. And we're going to change the font weight to like 600. And whenever you hover over it, I want the cursor pointer. And then when you are hovering, and colon hover, I want to change the color to secondary, the variable. Alright, so that's for all of our anchor tags, but now we want our anchor tag with the class of LG block quote. So now we're going to go ahead and give this some nice cool styling. So we're going to change the font family to the font stack variable. We're going to change the font size to 2em. I think that's pretty good. Font weight can be 200. I don't want it too chunky. And we can change this color to highlight. Now I know this color is already going to be highlight because I declared it here, but the reason I'm changing it here is because if I ever decide to change either this or this, all I've got to do is just change it right here, and this will stay the same while this changes. So we're going to set the line height of this to be 1.5em because I think 2em is going to be too much. Double spaced when it's that large is going to look a little weird. So now we're going to set the display of block and text align center. Let's just take a look at this so far. Alright, that looks pretty good. Just a couple things I want to add to this is going to be, let's give it some margin. So it's going to be 1em on the top and bottom, auto on the left and right, and let's set the max width of this to be 500 pixels. because I don't want this to run right up to the edge like the rest of the text. I want this to kind of feel like it sits apart from the text. So I want it to stay within this little bit here. Refresh it, and there you see what I mean. And the last two things we're going to do is I'm going to add a transition of all 0.3s, ease in, out, and we're going to set the hover state to change the color to our secondary variable. And if we refresh this, now when we hover, it changes like that. So I think that is pretty good. I don't think we need to change that much more. All right, let's go ahead and let's style this little header right here. And I think that's going to be it for today. So let's come over here to our Sass, and beneath all of this junk, we're going to say h5 with the class of read more CTA. And we're going to give it some styles. Text align center. Font size of 1.2 M. Font weight of 500. Font stack. No, sorry, not font stack. The font family we're going to set to our variable font stack. And we're going to set the padding to be 2M on the top and bottom and 0 on the left and right. And then we're going to give it a little bit of margin top. And it's just going to be like 60 pixels. Save this. Refresh. There we go. So later on in the next video, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be adding in at the bottom of this post. You'll see how there's a repeat, like a small list limited to 3 blog posts here. We're going to set that up here, and then on our blog index page here, we are going to set this up to display all of these blog posts just like you see here, just like this, as well as use each image, one for the featured image up here, and then use each blog post individual image that we set using this featured image right here in the liquid code. So actually, now that I clicked back on here, we didn't add the excerpt. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and grab about the first sentence or two of this right here, and I'm just going to copy this, and we're just going to paste that in to be our excerpt right there. And now that's going to be it for this post. Alright guys, that's going to be it for this video. Go ahead, like, subscribe. If you have any questions or comments, leave them down below. And next week, we are going to pick up where we left off and continue working on this website.